champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon yard of champions.
Yeah, they actively used to tell me that the internet was a phase.
Yeah, it's just
that
like...
it was some kind of fad of the world, and that they had seen fads come and go, and this fad was going to die.
And somehow that means it's like you gotta... Yeah, we're close to a boss, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
That or they know that they've made, like, the hardest puzzle possible, and they wanted to be merciful. But yeah, like, apparently fads are not allowed in that household. And it's like, so what? Like, it's something that'll be popular and then it'll go away. That's fine. They can still have fun with it. It's just dumb, that whole concept, and also the idea that the internet was a fad. They've mellowed out and stopped being completely ridiculous, but like that was just, what the hell. I grew up with plenty of video games.
Point that I was trying to make was that as a result of me not really seeing my dad very often, all of my video games were over at his house. And because I didn't see him very often, because I didn't really have the time or the ability to play video games very often, I owned very little in the way of video games. My dad was also an enormous cheapskate. But it was one of those things where it's just like, I couldn't really go out and buy games. I had to rent them because my dad's argument was, A, they're expensive, which he's right, they're expensive. And B, you're not really gonna be here very often. It's just every other week.
And that's fair.
Buying, like, you know, at the time, buying like a $60 or $70 game was kind of outrageous because I'm just gonna be able to play it once every other week. And it's just like, I can kind of understand it, but as a result, a lot of the video games that I played in my childhood and the video games that I identify as being like, yeah, no, this was a huge part of my childhood and of me growing up and everything, are games that I rented from Hollywood Video and no longer have access to. And most of them are apparently have turned out to be rare games, and in some cases are like hundreds of dollars a piece.
Yeah, my childhood video game experiences were so significantly better than his. I get really sad and angry every time I hear these stories. He's like, your parents suck! What the fuck?
But it's like Monster Rancher 1 was one of the games that I played and I had to rent constantly. Monster Rancher 2 I got for Christmas one year, so I did actually own that game. But when we were talking about Chocobo's Dungeon, I was reminded that Chocobo's Dungeon 1, I'm almost positive, did come out in the US. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Chocobo's Dungeon 2 I know did, because like you had it and I had friends who had it. The game that I kept seeing that I rented multiple times that was a tie into that was Chocobo Racing. Did you ever play it?
No, but I really wanted it because, oh hey, it's Grandpa. So we are getting close to an end or something. Oh, I thought that was going to be a cutscene.
No, what were you saying there?
I was the hot shit at kart racers in general. Not really. I'm sure that if you compared my skills to just normal people's skills, I'm average at kart racing, and I haven't done it in a jillion years because they've kind of fallen out of fashion. But I was the oldest kid in my family, and that meant I was the best at video games by default, and kart racers were where you could show off your skills. Up until Smash Brothers was released, and then I was, you know, the best at that, and that was just way better to beat people at, because you were literally beating people. But kart racers are the fucking best, and I love them, and it's one of those things where I'd probably play them if we had any, but I don't think we do.
I'm pretty sure I have Mario Kart DS somewhere.
It's not really the same, like, I don't know. There's certain kinds of games that just don't work for me on a handheld. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't like the concept of, like, Smash Brothers on handheld, for instance.
Yeah, like, as far as I'm concerned, handhelds are for games that you don't need to give your full attention to, so you can play them while, like, at a bus stop or something. So, like, if it's something where I can't just click on a menu and then look away from it and then look back, it's like it's not going to work for me. So Pokemon is perfect for handhelds, but if it's something that requires reflexes, I want it to be on a console where it has my full attention. Except that I don't pay attention when I'm playing console games, clearly, as this playthrough has shown.
Yeah, we are not paying near enough attention. Like, half these fights, I think, are just you mashing X.
A little bit, but it is an RPG, so it's kind of what it turns out to sometimes.
All I remember about Chocobo Racing is that A, the character selection was really crazy and nonsense.
Who was on it?
So you had a Chocobo.
Did you have like a black chocobo?
Obviously. Okay, you're gonna want to let me finish.
Okay.
There was a Chocobo. Mm-hmm. There was a Moogle. Mm-hmm. There was White Mage.
Shiroma?
Yep, it was specifically Shiroma.
Yep,
There
I
was
liked her.
a Black Mage.
Oh, a little side note. My mother's name, rest in peace, her name was Sharon, so I just kind of like Shiroma because she was like my mom, but also she was like a girl who would be like my age. It was like, I don't know where I'm going with that, but I don't know. I just have like good memories of names that are similar to my mom's name.
So you had Shiroma. You had a Black Mage whose name I can't remember. I don't think it was Vivi, because I think that
didn't exist
that game
yet.
didn't come out for a while after that. But,
Yeah.
I know that there was a Black Mage in there, though. And, like, a bunch of the other characters completely skip across my brain. Like, I can't remember half of them. I know, like, Bahamut was in there.
Oh, there's a story about Bahamut, sort of. In Chocobo's Dungeon 2, there's a Bahamut in the... No, not Behemoth. I'm sorry. Continue. Bahamut's the dragon.
Yeah, Bahamut's the dragon.
Yeah, no, that's different. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
But Bahamut was a racer, and it was literally like I think if he was to get out of the cart, he would have the biggest model out of any of them, but they still went ahead and like chibified him so that he could drive around in a cart, and they kind of squished him into his car, so like his legs were up by his shoulders, and he just had big wings going on. And I think Squall was a racer in that game. Yeah, I love that look you just gave me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Squall was in that game as a racer.
Squall's my favorite. Squall was one of my husbandos as a kid.
All that I remember about that game, though, is that the control on the carts was absolutely stupid nuts go crazy sliding. Like, I remember that the final place that you were supposed to race, like their Rainbow Road, was through a volcano. And some of the roads would get wide enough that you could fit maybe 3 carts side by side, and you'd immediately go, oh, well, that makes sense, that's fine. But actually, when you got into the road, it would be like, okay, so here's the 3-cart area and then a turn, and you'd start that turn at the beginning of the road, and you would still not make it. You would launch yourself right off into the lava every fucking time.
He's just straight up acknowledging that this is like a recycled area.
Yeah.
Is that all you gotta say?
Maybe
He's
you
here
should
to
press the
explain this,
switches.
but like... Okay, so he's just super bored with this.
Nah, he clearly doesn't.
Okay,
know anything
continue.
interesting. But the game had crazy controls. Like, they were terrible. And I used to be, like, pretty okay at it, because I was okay at kart racers, too. I wasn't terrible at all. And I would get all the way to the last level, and then I'd have to pass the controller over to a friend of mine who was significantly better at kart racers than I am, so that she could do the final level, because I had no chance. I was incapable at all times of doing, like, the final level of that game. It was awful. But if you beat the final level, you were given the amazing chance to create a racer. So you got to pick your name, and then you got to pick what you looked like, and then they gave you a color slider.
Huh.
So that's how you could do different colored chocobos.
I really like... Could you just pick anyone? So you could have like a black mage with different colored robes or whatever?
I think so, but you have to understand it was not like a very advanced color slider. It's not like you could choose any color on them and change it. It's
Sure.
like it was like a hue slider.
Okay.
So you'd have like the black mage, and then you'd be able to click it left or right, and it would just be like, oh, well, here's black mage with red robes, here's black mage with yellow robes, here's black mage with white robes, which doesn't really make a lot of sense for black mage.
Yeah, but it's still fine. So, I know that in like the later chocobo related stuff, there's like a second chocobo who will show up. I think it's just multiples. Like, they're just sometimes enemy chocobos that are called jailbirds, and they're black and they're wearing like a little striped shirt. They're super cute. Just all chocobos are cute, but I think they did just start doing like official just chocobo variants.